Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dave's Top 3,000 Songs of the Rock Era. Today I'm up to song number 2250. I forgot to put the number on the slide. But that's a position, and the song is Say Has Anybody Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose by Tony Orlando and Dawn. And this came out in 1973. And here's a picture of the single. And it was also released on their 1973 album called Dawn's New Ragtime Follies. And, I better stick around for the end of this video because I decided to feature this one at karaoke. But I don't make a fool of myself too much. I can't dance around and I don't have Dawn to back me up, but I'll do my best. Anyway, here's a picture of Tony Orlando and Dawn in 1973, around the time they recorded. They were a very popular trio in the early to mid 70s. They had a lot of big hits. I'll get into that later. Um, anyway, first, I guess I should say a little bit about the song Say Has Anybody Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose? It was written by, Irving Levine and L. Russell Brown. I guess they wrote several songs for Tony Orlando and Dawn, including this one. And not too much to say about it. You'll hear it in a few minutes. It's kind of a throwback to Ragtime, you know. It almost sounds like a song from the late 19th century, maybe early 20th century, kind of something you might hear in old New Orleans with all the jazz instruments in the background. I think it's a good song, a little bit corny, but I like it. Um, and not a whole lot to say about it. You'll hear it in a minute. Like I said, this guy's heartbroken because his girlfriend or his wife or whoever it was left him to, join a burlesque show in New Orleans. She becomes kind of a burlesque dancer and, well, I guess for the stripper. He's heartbroken, but he's pleading for him to come on home where she belongs. So anyway, that's what the song's about. And I guess that's all I have to say about the song. Say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose? Now I'll talk about the group, Tony Orlando and Dawn. They were a very, very successful pop group in the early to mid 70s. They were from New York City, and like a lot of other groups, they had several runs. Their first big run was from 1970 to 1977. And then they got back together in 1988. They were together until 1993. Then I guess they were together briefly in 2005. And then from 2015 to 2016. And finally from 2018 to 2024. And I don't think they ever changed memberships. The lead singer was Tony Orlando, as I'm sure, pretty obvious from their name. Sometimes they were just known as Dawn. But that's Tony Orlando on the left, and then the Dawn was his two backup singers. That was Thelma Hopkins and Joyce Vincent Wilson. They were Dawn, Tony Orlando and Dawn, and pretty catchy. They had a lot of good catchy hits. I'm just gonna go through them now. The first hit was in 1970. It was called Candida. That went to number 3. Then the following hit was in 1971. I think it was the first number one song of that year. It was called Knock Three Times. And then they followed that one up with I Play and Sing, which went to number 25. Summer Sam, which went to 33. And What Are You Doing on Sunday, which went to 39. In 1972, they had a medley of Runaway and Happy together, two big hits from 60s. I'm sure you guys all know. And that medley went to number 79. And then they had a song in Spanish, I guess. I'm not familiar with this one, but it was called Vaya con Dios. And that one went to number 95. And then they followed that up with You're a Lady, which went to number 70. And then in 1973, they have their second number one, probably their most well known, I think their biggest hit as well. It was called Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that one. Then they followed that up with a song I featured today, Say Has Anybody Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose, which went to number 3. And then they had Who's in the Strawberry Patch with Sally, which went to number 27. In 1974, they had It Only Hurts When I Try to Smile, which went to number 81. And Stepping Out, subtitle Gonna Boogie Tonight, which went to number 7. And Look in My Eyes, Pretty Woman, which went to number 11. In 1975, they had their third and final number one, a cover of You Don't Love You Like I Love You. That was a cover of a song originally done by Jerry Butler, which I already featured, He Will Break Your Heart. I don't remember what number that was. It was about a few months ago I featured that one. And then they had Morning Beautiful, which went to number 14. And another cover, a cover of a pretty great song by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell called You're All I Need to Get By. Their version went to number 34. And then they had Skybird, which went to number 49. And then in 1976, they had a cover of another really great song called Cupid, originally by Sam Cooke. Their version went to number 22. And then finally in 1977, they had a song called Sing, which went to number 58. I don't think that's the same Sing by the Carpenters. But anyway, those were the hits for Tony Orlando and Dawn. A pretty prolific trio, I'd say. A pretty great one as well. And now, as promised, I'm going to feature Say Has Anybody Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose to karaoke. Unfortunately, I can't get up and dance to it, but I'll try to put as much energy into it as I can. So anyway, here goes. Sit back and enjoy. We were very happy. Well, at least I thought we were. Can somebody tell me what's got into her? A house, a home, a family, and a man that loves her so. Who'd believe she'd leave us to join the burlesque show? Whoa, say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose? Here's a picture when she was my sweet Mary Jo. Now she's got rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose? Oh, I got when Mary Jo's been dancing here in New Orleans, in the smoke-filled honky-tonk they call the land of dreams. Whoa, here she comes strutting in her birthday clothes. Say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose? Whoa, babe, baby, won't you come on home? Say, we all miss you, and every night we kiss your picture. For Rose one night the lights go dim and the crowd goes home. That's the day you wake up and you find you're all alone. So let's say goodbye to Gypsy, hello Mary Jo. Say, has anybody seen my sweet Gypsy Rose? So take those rings off your fingers and bells off your toes. Say, has anybody seen my, now you know what I mean by, has anybody seen my Gypsy Rose? Okay, that was my performance of Say Has Anybody Seen My Sweet Gypsy Rose in the style of Tony Orlando and Dawn. I hope that wasn't too terrible. Anyway, that completes my feature for tonight. Say, has anybody seen my Sweet Gypsy Rose by Tony Orlando and Dawn? So thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.